All right, guys. So what you guys are going to be doing next is we're going to continue on with lines. And the first time that we were talking, you guys were talking, we were doing uh, horizontal and vertical lines. Okay. Now, for this particular assignment, we're kind of going to go in the opposite direction. So in the first assignment, you were using only horizontal and perfectly vertical lines to create an abstract design. Now, in this particular case, one of the things that we kind of went over was being careful not to create a diagonal or an implied diagonal line, an accidental one. So in this case, we are going to be using only implied lines, only those. So the way you're going to do that is you're going to blanket out the paper using lines grouped close together. Now, for this particular assignment, you're going to need a pen and a ruler or a straight edge. Okay. So what you're going to do is on your paper. Now, here's the first things first. People always ask, do these have to be perfectly horizontal or perfectly vertical? Absolutely not. No. Okay. There's no way. So let me show you what you're going to do. So what you're going to do is zoom in. All right. So what you're going to do is just using a ruler and a straight edge, you're just going to go in and with your pen, you are just going to group lines close together like so. That's it. And then what you're going to do is you'll skip a space and you'll do the exact same thing. Now, for this particular assignment, what you want to do is you kind of want to vary up the monotony of just using the same length of lines over and over and over, and just vary up the lengths and the direction in which you are going, like so. So that space in between is what we're looking for. Like in the examples that were shown on the blend page, that's what we're looking for. That space in between. How creative can you be using and just using only these groups of lines to blanket out the white? Okay. And then what you'll do is you'll just skip another space and you'll just keep going. The whole point of this is to learn to control your media, to make sure that you are controlling your media, because a pen is unforgiving. You cannot go in and erase it. You just can't. So, what you do is you control your media. All right. That's the only way around it. Now, if you notice, this is going to be a quiz grade, so it's going to count just slightly more than a regular grade. And it's broken up into four different sections. So if you're using the correct media, things like that, that automatically scores you 25 points. Uh, Making sure that you blanket out the white paper, things like that, those all count as points. But one of the things that's going to count against you is craftsmanship, and that's the part that a lot of people kind of start messing up on. So what happens is, if you were going without a ruler or a straight edge, what happens a lot of the times is you can tell that you are no longer controlling your media. What happens is the media ends up controlling you, and you end up getting these ugly hatch marks. They're not necessarily controlled, they're not precise, they're not anything like that. Okay. This will score you a very low grade. So you have to make sure that you are controlling it. Another thing, if you're going to start another set of lines, okay, like for example, up here, I got really close, okay? I didn't cross, but I got really close. But let's say that I wanted to start another set of lines, like right here, and I'm going, and the next thing you know, I start touching and I cross over into this part. You start crossing over, that's going to count against you, okay, as far as craftsmanship is concerned. So those are things that you've got to take into consideration as you are working, okay? As y'all saw in the examples that were on there, as y'all saw in the examples that were on the blend page, you're going to see various works from varying degrees of grades. You're going to see one that has a perfect score. You're going to see a couple of A's, a B, C, D, okay, as you go. The thing is to learn from those mistakes, okay? Look at the ones that scored a perfect score. Look at the ones that scored an A. That's kind of like where you want to go. All right. What you want to do is just blanket out the white of the paper using lines grouped close together. How creatively that you do it is your thing. That is your aesthetic. You're going to see some that had a picture or something like that in there. You can do that. Okay. In the past, people have put like their name, uh, a heart, things like that. I think one of them in there had like a skull or something like that. You can do that. It is completely up to you. Um, is it is it going to take a little bit more planning on your part? Yes, it will. It will take a little bit more planning, but if done correctly and done precisely with a ruler or a straight edge, it can look really, really good. Okay. Now, if you just want to blanket out the white of the paper just using a bunch of different lines on the paper, you can. The thing is, the more creative you get, the better the grade usually. Okay. So remember that as you are working. Am I just doing a bunch of lines on the paper? Am I going to put in an actual picture? What am I doing? All right. Ask yourself that as you are working. So one of the things to remember is, of course, craftsmanship. Making sure that you're using a ruler or just a straight edge, anything that's straight that you can control. Make sure that you are using a pen. All right. Does the pen matter? What color? No, it doesn't. Now, you got to be a little careful using those really nice uh, um, felt tip pens, things like that, because they tend to smudge a lot. Smudging, things like that, that causes craftsmanship problems, craftsmanship issues, and that can bring your grade down. Okay, you've got to start taking a little bit more pride in your work. So, on a full sheet of white paper, that is all you are doing. Just blanketing out the white of the paper, grouping lines close together. Okay, this is your opportunity to start showing me some creativity, but also I want to see that you guys are up to the challenge because this is going to take a while. And a lot of the times, the challenge is up against you. Okay, so you need to take control. You need to say, "This is what I'm doing." A lot of the times, just shut your mind off. Okay, and just do it. Just keep going. Just keep making lines. Okay, if you guys have any questions whatsoever, you can always ask questions. But look at the examples that are on Blend if you have to. Okay. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, you good luck.